Folks, prepare yourselves because you're about to see Stephen A. Smith absolutely tear Jasmine Crockett from shred to shred on air. Aha, clever rhyme there, huh? Jokes aside, it's obvious that Stephen A. Smith has taken some kind of a turn lately. To what exactly, I don't know, but he's clearly not at least as overtly left-wing and a nut job as he used to be. So it's kind of interesting to see, but I don't know. I have some thoughts on that. We'll get into that. But with all that being said, we're going to get right into it. First, do me a big favor here and like our video and also share it around. That way we can keep bringing you all this great, hard-hitting content. As always, Patriots, I'm your host, Darian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
Let me tell you what gets me annoyed. And I hope Jasmine Crockett is listening to this. By the way, she's welcome on the show. When you go on national television and you call in the president of the United States out of his name, and you're being all disrespectful, as a representative in this country, do you believe the citizens of Texas sent you there to do that? They don't like him either. I'm talking about those who voted for her in all likelihood. But because he is who he is and he is in that position, they expect you to go to Capitol Hill and figure out a way to maneuver yourself through that terrain to work in a fashion that's going to facilitate getting things done on behalf of your constituents. That's your job. That's your job. Excuse my language on Sirius XM, but it ain't your job to say he ain't worth a damn. That's not your job. Anybody can do that. You're supposed to be figuring out a way to get things done.
I can't really figure out whether Stephen A. Smith is being genuine, like if he earnestly believes this and he's just honestly that naive that he believes the left wing has, I don't know, some kind of sense of code where they're gonna, play by the rules, so to speak. Because if he thinks that, well, dude, where have you been for the past, I don't know, forever? When has the left ever acted in good faith? Like, what are you thinking? But on the other hand, maybe he's just cynically playing this whole, awakened leftist thing of like, I was always a liberal Democrat and blah, 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 but the left has gone too far and they're too crazy and they're too insane and too extreme and too disrespectful and yada, yada, yada. I don't know. I honestly can't tell. And I say this because so many conservatives fall for this whole disaffected Democrat shtick, hook, line, and sinker. It's always like, look at all these people who left because it's too bad. And then you have a Democrat who comes into the conservative side, if you want to call it that, and then tells right-wingers what they should be thinking. And, it's a whole nother issue, but the point out here is conservatives are too tolerant, in my view. Obviously, the left is ironically extremely intolerant to an extreme degree, too much so, while claiming to be tolerant. But conservatives are actually, in my view, accept too much. People like Stephen A. Smith, for example. So many right-wingers embraced him with open arms, praised him on Twitter. Oh, he's so great. Look, he disagreed with the left. I mean, okay, big flipping deal. Where was he when it mattered? It's so easy to do it now that it's not even unpopular to like Trump anymore. You ever notice that? It's always years later that these people come out of the woodwork. Anyways, let's see a bit more of Stephen dunk on Jasmine Crockett.
How Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself, I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas?
Yeah.
Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Because like Joe Manchin said, he's there to represent, or was there for 15 years to represent, the people of West Virginia. She's supposed to be there to represent the people of Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that just sounds ignorant because it's so simple. But it ain't that damn complicated. We make it complicated. Damn, it's frustrating. It really can be.
I can't help but notice he acts as if the left hasn't been doing this for a millennia. Hello? Where have you been? Oh yeah, you were busy peddling this race hustler garbage yourself, Mr. Smith. Let us not forget. You know, so many of these people pushed all the far left woke for so many years, and then they're like, oh my God, guys, the left has gone too far. You know, it's like the Democrats were here at one point, you know, then they were here, which is like already super far. And then they go from here to like here. And then people like Stephen A. Smith go, oh my gosh, guys, when did they get so far left? And it's like, dude, you were literally a part of it. But anyways, let's see what some of the crazy disrespectful stuff Jasmine Crockett said from her own lips. Check it out.
Because the Supreme Court has paved the way for half the stuff that we see that's going on. Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that. Yes.
Wow.
He is.
Okay.
He is.
Wow.
But in a functioning democracy, he still would not be able to get away with this. But he's been able to get away with this because the House Republicans are complicit. He's been able to get away with this because Senate Republicans are complicit. But most importantly, the courts, especially the Supreme Court, is complicit. And so I think one of the places that we have to start is we are absolutely, they are the highest court in the land, and they have no ethics guardrails. Now you go down to the lower courts and they do. How much sense does that make? When we know that they're taking money, we have the paper trail, and they refuse to put guardrails on themselves, so it's time for us to do it for them.
Well, that was really something, wasn't it? Now, I know I've been bagging on Stephen A. Smith a lot, but he does make some good points about the left, so I have to give credit where it's due. Take a look at what he had to say about Gavin Newsom. It is not pretty.
You, Jasmine Crockett, you're calling them everything under the sun. How's that going to work? If it serves to alienate folks because they're saying you're just him on the other side of the aisle, acting the same way you're accusing him of acting, and then you get dismissed. AOC, I believe, can win the Senate seat in New York over Chuck Schumer. I don't think she'll win the presidency. Gavin Newsom's talking about potentially running for the president. Actually, he's not talking about it. He's trying to avoid talking about it, but we all know what he's doing because he has to leave the gubernatorial seat in 2026, or the governor's seat in 2026. We know what he wants. You gonna pull it off with the record that took place in California all of these years under your stewardship? It's nice to see him sticking his chest out and going off. You think they don't have clips of how you embraced extreme leftist policies during the whole woke movement and cancel culture and everything else? You think they don't have those clips? You think they didn't see people getting arrested and let out of jail the same day? You think they don't have footage of crime ravaging the streets of Los Angeles or homelessness? You think they don't know about the cost of living and how it's the highest in this republic right now?
All solid points. Love it. A quick final thought. Notice that pro-America branding, straight shooter with Stephen A. Looks like an American flag there. White House. He knows exactly what he's doing. I bet you that there are more right-wingers who watch Stephen A. Smith than left-wingers. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's a theory of mine. With all that being said, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. As always, if you haven't already, make sure you comment below. Let us know what you liked about the video, what kind of stuff you want to see in the future. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again soon. God bless.